Welcome into our post-game show here on the Padres Radio Network. Tough one for the Padres in St. Louis tonight as they fall 4-3. Nolan Arenado, a walk-off single for St. Louis in the bottom half of the ninth inning as the Cardinals win the third game of this four-game series. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. We'll go back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We have all the radio highlights. We'll recap this game from start to finish. Padres fall to 76-59 on the year. Cardinals improved to 66-67. Padres still have an opportunity to win this series in the fourth and final game of this four-game set tomorrow. Some initial thoughts for you, and this was a rare time where the Padres could not find a way to win a game where they came back in the game. We saw Kyle Higashioka hit the game-tying solo home run in the eighth inning to tie the game at 3, but that's as good as it would get for the Padres here tonight. You heard Jesse and Tony allude to it, discuss it in the post-game wrap-up. The name of the game tonight, the problem for the Padres tonight was just runners left on base and not capitalizing with runners in scoring position enough. The Padres left 10 on base in this game. They went 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and the Cardinals did just a better job in that department, 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position, including the game-winning hit from Arenado. And there were really two different areas of this game where the issues with runners in scoring position came up. Number one, against Andre Pallante. Pallante ends up going 5 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs given up, the Cardinals starter, but the Padres had some real good opportunities against him after they got 2 runs in the first inning. They had multiple runners on base in the second. They had multiple runners on base in the third. They had a runner in scoring position in the fourth inning, a runner in scoring position in the fifth inning, and aside from getting the 2 early runs against Pallante in the first inning, they did not get another run against him. So that was sort of part one of the issues tonight with runners in scoring position. Then we get to the ninth inning, and the ninth inning is really where this game was won and lost. Luis Arraez leads off that ninth inning with a beautiful piece of hitting. I mean, he looped a double into left field down the line on a pitch that nearly hit the dirt. A double to begin the ninth inning. Go-ahead run on second base. Tyler Wade pinch runs for Arraez. And then we have a really interesting moment in this game, and I'm sure we'll discuss it more. I'm sure Mike Shildt will get asked about it post-game. But Jurickson Profar, who has been so good in high-leverage spots, late in games, runners in scoring position, he lays down a sacrifice bunt to move the runner to third base, and ultimately Cronenworth strikes out against Helsley. Machado strikes out against Helsley, and then in the ninth inning, and I'll get back to the Profar bunt in a second, but then in the ninth inning, Robert Suarez gets the first 2 outs, but you know what? Robert Suarez has had a terrific season. He's human. Gives up 3 straight singles, win, and then Scott, and then Arenado wins it. So 3 straight singles, and the Cardinals win it 4-3. But to go back to the bunt, look, I know there are a lot of people out there that you know, you probably could go 2 ways. There are probably people out there that were fine with the bunt. There are probably people out there that didn't love the bunt. So let's break down both sides of the argument before we hear from Mike Shildt, before we get to the radio highlights. The argument for the bunt would be what? Well, it would be that you're in a spot where the go-ahead run is on second base. You get that go-ahead run to third base, and now a sacrifice fly brings the run in and gives you a lead. All you need is a sacrifice fly, a fly ball deep enough into the outfield to take the lead. And look, the Padres, for the most part this season, including last night, have, as a team, been very good in those kinds of spots where you have to execute late in a game. That would be the argument for the bunt. The argument against the bunt would be, I think, really a couple of areas. Number one, you've got a guy in the mound in Helsley who throws really hard and is really good and can strike guys out. So as Cronenworth comes up, that's always going to be a bit of a danger. You just have a guy in the mound for St. Louis that can strike guys out, and if he does strike out Cronenworth, well, then the sac fly is no longer in play, and that is how it played out. Cronenworth strikes out. The other argument against the bunt would be Jurickson Profar is really good in these spots in particular. Even after tonight, he went 0 for 4 and then had the sac bunt. .355 with runners in scoring position this season in quote-unquote late and close situations. We know he's been unbelievable. He's hitting .459 in quote-unquote late and close situations this season. I mean, there have not been many guys better in baseball this season in late game spots where the Padres have needed a big swing. So, you sort of give up that opportunity by bunting there. Now, again, there were two chances there after the sac bunt to get the run in, including one of them on a sac fly. And the Padres, whether you loved the bunt or you didn't like the bunt, they didn't execute, and they didn't get the run in, and it came back to bite them with the Cardinals winning it in the bottom half of the ninth inning. I'll bring up this tweet from A.J. Cassavell, Padres beat reporter for MLB.com, just to put a bow on the discussion, at least here in the opening segment, on the Profar bunt. AJ tweeting, and I think this kind of sums it up well, Profar's ninth inning bunt moving Arise from second to third raised the Padres' win probability by 1% from 67 to 68%. But that number does not account for the quality of hitter at the plate, and Profar is one of the league's best, particularly in high leverage spots. So look, again, that kind of the second part of that sort of wraps up what we just talked about with it being Profar at the plate. Look, it's probably one of those situations where if Cronenworth hits a sac fly there, Padres take the lead and they win this game 4-3. Let's be honest about it. We're probably all sitting here applauding the decision to bunt and to manufacture the run. It didn't work out. And in a sense, Profar sort of did take the bat out of his hands. Again, I don't know if that was from the dugout. I don't know if Profar was doing that on his own. We saw last week against Minnesota, Profar showed bunt with the Padres down, the tying runs on base. He decided to ultimately pull it back on the next couple of pitches. He hit a home run to give the Padres a lead late in the game in the eighth inning. So it's not the first time we've seen Profar try to bunt. Is that the reason, just the ninth inning alone, why the Padres lost? No, we talked about the missed opportunities early, Suarez giving up 3 hits. But it obviously what happened in that ninth inning with the bunt, with the inability to get weighed in, and then obviously with Suarez giving up 3 straight singles, that's certainly where this game turned here tonight. All in all, Padres have played great. It's 1 loss. Try to win the series tomorrow. You got Michael King on the mound. Certainly a good opportunity to do it. Hopefully the Padres can win the series and move on to Tampa Bay. Final score, Cardinals 4, Padres 3. We have the radio highlights when we come back. We'll hear from Mike Shildt. Much more to do on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Tough one tonight in St. Louis for the Padres as they fall 4-3. Nolan Arenado, a walk-off single in the bottom half of the ninth inning against Robert Suarez. We'll go back to St. Louis here from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. Let's recap this game from start to finish.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
The Padres got off to a quick start against Cardinals starter Andre Palante. Luis Arraez hit a leadoff single. By the way, a great night for Arraez. We'll get into that a little bit later. Jake Cronenworth hit a one-out single. That sent Arraez to second base. That set the table for Manny Machado.
Ahead here, 3-0. Here's the pitch from Palante, swinging at a ground ball up the middle into center field, and a base hit. Arraez is being waved at third base. Newpart's throw will go to third. The tag is not in time. RBI single, Manny Machado. Cronenworth able to go first to third, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the first.
So like Jesse said, Cronenworth on third, Machado on first base. Then this happened with Xander Bogaerts at the plate.
Runners on the corners, one out for Bogaerts. Machado runs. 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Throw down is high into center field, and Cronenworth's going to come in and score. Arraez airmailed his throw up to second base, and San Diego ahead 2-0 here in the first.
So a 2-0 Padres lead. Joe Musgrove was great early on. He had allowed just one hit and faced the minimum through 3 innings. Padres still led 2-0 as Musgrove took the mound in the 4th inning. He would run into trouble. A one-out single for Alec Burleson, another for Nolan Arenado. Luken Baker was next.
Who's barely leading off the bag. And this pitch hit in the air to left center field and deep. Throw far back into the gap, not going to be able to get there. Bounces at the base of the wall. Derrickson plays it well. Burleson has scored. Arenado will stop at third base. An RBI double for Luken Baker. Cardinals are on the board. It's 2-1.
The Cardinals then tied the game on a Brendan Donovan RBI groundout as Arenado scored from third base. There was still a runner in scoring position for Paul Goldschmidt.
1-0. Musgrove delivers, and Goldschmidt laces it into center field. That's a base hit. That's going to give the Cardinals a lead. Baker comes in to score. St. Louis in front for the first time tonight. It's 3-2.
It stayed 3-2 for a while. Palante pitched into the 6th inning. Joe Musgrove got through 6 innings and gave up just the 3 runs. Padres didn't score against the Cardinals in the top of the 7th inning. Sean Reynolds delivered a scoreless bottom half of the 7th out of the Padres pen. Padres still trailed 3-2. Going to the 8th inning, Cardinals left-hander Jojo Romero came on. He got the first 2 outs. The count then went to 1-2 on Kyle Higashioka.
All in 2 strikes. The pitch to Higashioka, launched in the air down the left field line. Pham is back towards the corner. He's looking up. It's going to go! Game-tying homer. Kyle Higashioka with 2 outs here in the 8th.
So a 3-3 game. And for Kyle Higashioka, that was home run at number 16 on the season. He continues to build on that career high. So Jason Adam threw a scoreless bottom half of the 8th inning. That brought us to the top of the 9th inning, still tied at 3. Cardinals closer Ryan Helsley came on. Luis Arraez led off with a bloop double down the left field line. Tyler Wade pinch ran, so the Padres had the go-ahead run on second base with nobody out. Jurickson Profar then laid down a sacrifice bunt. That got Wade to third base, but Helsley bounced back to strike out Jake Cronenworth. He then struck out Manny Machado to end the inning. A big-time missed opportunity with that go-ahead run on second and nobody out. We still had a 3-3 game going to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Padres went to Robert Suarez trying to get the game to extra innings. He got Tommy Pham to fly out. He got Matt Carpenter to strike out. Just like that, 2 outs and nobody on. But then Mason Wynn hit a single. Victor Scott hit a single. There were runners on first and second, the winning run in scoring position for Nolan Arenado.
And the 1-1. Arenado ground ball up the middle into center field and a base hit. Wynn is racing around third. Merrill comes up firing, no chance. Walk-off RBI single for Arenado. Mason Wynn scores, and the Cardinals win 4-3.
And that was that here tonight. 3 straight singles from Wynn, Scott, and Arenado wins the game for the Cardinals. 4 runs, 11 hits, 1 error for St. Louis. San Diego, 3 runs, 10 hits, no errors. Again, the Padres dropped to 76 and 59. Cardinals improved to 66 and 67. Let's go back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Mike, was this just a case of you came back and then the 2 balls got holes against Suarez tonight?
Yeah. I mean, it was, 2 out, nobody on, Win. It's what he's done all series. 2 strikes, hit the ball the other way. Scott threw a tough at bat on him, found some grass. We're trying to be careful to Nolan and just got a ball that he could, put through the infield.
What do you think of what Joe did tonight?
I thought Joe was very gritty tonight, and I thought he was really, really, he gave us 6 innings, kept it right there, did his part. Really efficient early and a lot of quality pitches. 1 inning got him, and he was able to get through 6. Left there with some traffic in the 6th, got it up. They pitched a new bar, got out of it, and I thought he was really good.
We've seen it a few times this year. What did you think of kind of Profar's decision to bunt there?
Yeah, I don't look, man. We give Pro the option. I trust him completely. I trust him, and he trusts his teammates. It doesn't always work out, but man, I trust him completely in that at bat and making his decision and feel for the game. I support him completely.
The way this game went, how you guys feel about late innings, so it was almost like, of course, someone was going to hit a home run and you were going to tie it up.
Sure.
What did you think about the flow of this game? You guys created those runs in the first inning, then a lot of opportunities missed.
Had some opportunities. It was one of those games. Guys played their hearts out, scored 2 in the first. Valente was able to, dodge some bullets. We found some holes early on in that first inning and put some guys good at bats. Louis swinging the bat really, really well, and had some other opportunities later and just couldn't cash in. And he did a nice job. Their bullpen was good, and we were able to get Romero with Higgy's swing. But it's good, hard fought back and forth ball game. Played our tails off defensively. Gosh, Manny, what are you gonna say? Bogey. You're talking about 4 highlight plays between the 2 of them.
Has Bogaerts, do you see him more comfortable? Early in the season, it was obviously an adjustment, but in the last little bit, how's he looked defensively?
No question. He just looks like a Gold Glove second baseman right now. He's played his way into that kind of, conversation in the sense of what he's doing, being rangy, making plays, turning over plays. He just, comfortable, looks at home.
Hey, Mike, what did you think of that? Jake broke on that ball and was going to make it even if Padres had made. What did you think of that he took off like that?
I thought it was great.
Just another heads-up play by you guys running the bases. Is that all it is?
Correct. Yes,
okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, what's the latest on Kim?
Still day-to-day. I talked to him. He's feeling better. I told you before. He played catch again. It's not like day-to-day he's going to get back, but day-to-day in the sense he's making recoveries and he's able to increase his intensity of his throwing and his swings. But, we're clearly not going to push him. But, he's making positive strides.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt after this loss in St. Louis tonight, 4-3 to the Cardinals. Walk-off base hit for Nolan Arenado in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we wrap this one up. You heard a little update there on Ha-Seong Kim. We knew that earlier today. He had done some throwing, a little catch, and then had also swung the bat a bit as well. So no big-time update there. We'll see what the update is in the next day or 2 on Kim. Probably the most consequential thing discussed there, and good points there by Mike Shildt on the defense tonight. It really was good, the defense for the Padres in this series. It has really been exceptional. A couple of things. Number one, the missed opportunities. Again, big story in this game. Padres went 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and it wasn't just about what happened in the 9th inning, and I'll get to that in a second. But it was about the early part of the game, too. Padres scored 2 runs early against Andre Palante, but you could really argue they let him off the hook in the rest of the outing. Had 2 on in the second, 2 on in the third, a runner in scoring position in the fourth, another in the fifth inning. They did not score another run against Palante. So you do come away from this ball game feeling like there was a lot left on the table with Palante. Could have been a bigger lead than 2-0 in the early innings. And then from the way Mike Shildt talked about it there, it sounds like that was Profar bunting on his own there. And again, I talked about it in the opening segment, and I did have that question in the opening segment as well. Was that something Profar did on his own? Was that something that was called from the dugout? Again, I gave you both sides of the argument as to why you would bunt, why it would make sense, and what it takes away with Profar bunting, and you are fully within your right to like or dislike the decision. But interesting, and we've heard Mike Shildt be very consistent about that in these specific situations when a guy bunts, where he trusts his players. And I know that may sound cliche, but it's been like that all year. He trusts his players. He trusts Jurickson to make the call he wants to make in that spot. If it works out, great, and sometimes it won't work out. And tonight it didn't work out, unfortunately, because the Padres just couldn't get the run in from third base. And again, I said it in the opening segment, hindsight's 20/20. If Cronenworth hits a fly ball deep enough into the outfield and the Padres get that run in that way, we're probably, let's be honest, sitting here on the post game saying, wow, great move by Profar, giving up his plate appearance, and finds a way to scratch across a run and help the Padres win this game. Didn't work out. So you look at it from the other side, and hey, it's giving up an at-bat with a guy who is terrific in those spots, who has been great all year, exactly in those late-game, high-leverage spots. So again, we talked about it plenty in the opening segment, but what you did, I think, learn there was that it was Profar's, call to bunt. So anyway, didn't work out here tonight. Not always going to work out in the context of this second half where the Padres have played so well. Final score, 4-3. St. Louis wins it. We'll come back, get into our daily awards, full out-of-town scoreboard. If you want to get a phone call in, 833-288-0973. 4-3, Cardinals win it here tonight in St. Louis. Our Padres postgame show continues after this. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score, Cardinals 4 and the Padres 3 as the Padres get walked off on. Here tonight, Nolan Arenado, a walk-off single in the bottom half of the ninth inning. Padres lose the third game of this four-game series. They'll still have an opportunity to win this series tomorrow, final game of this set tomorrow in St. Louis. We'll have more on that coming up a little bit later. I will tell you, though, remember, it is an early start time tomorrow. We're on the air 10:15 a.m. tomorrow with our pregame coverage. First pitch at 11:15 a.m. here in San Diego. More on that game coming up a little later. Let's tell you about tonight's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Our relief pitcher of the game tonight, we'll keep it on the Padres side of things because we can. We have a couple of good options. You look at Sean Reynolds, who, by the way, has been good, really good in a Padre uniform. Did walk 2 in his outing, but also struck out 2, a scoreless 7th inning. Jason Adam, after the Padres tied the game on the Higashioka home run in the 8th inning. Allowed a base hit, but a scoreless inning. He continues to be great. So one of those two guys, you know what? We'll give it to Sean Reynolds. Why not? Give it to the rookie. Did a good job keeping it a one-run game. And look, if the Padres do go on to win this game, we're looking at Reynolds a scoreless 7th inning, Adam a scoreless 8th inning. Those guys holding the line, to keep it a one-run deficit, to keep the game tied. We're looking at it as really important parts of this ball game. So for that reason, we'll give it to Sean Reynolds, our relief pitcher of the game. Nicely done. Certainly would have been a big part of this, of a potential win here tonight. You zoom out with Reynolds, by the way. 0.96 ERA in 8 appearances so far, 9 innings and a third. He struck out 16, walked 4. He's only given up 8 hits. So he's done a nice job. He lost his command for a little bit. Couple of batters, walked 2 with 2 outs in that 7th inning, but bounced back. Got a big strikeout and got out of a scoreless frame. So Sean Reynolds, very, very good. Jason Adam, of course, continues to be very good in a Padre uniform. So far, 13 appearances, an 0.69 ERA, 13 innings. He struck out 21 and walked only 1. He's only given up 8 hits. So Adam and Reynolds, both very good so far in the brown and gold. When we come back, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll have our player of the game, play of the game coming up later as well. If you want to squeeze a phone call in, 833-288-0973. Again, 833-288-0973. The phone number to call. We'll also point out a couple of nice performances by the Padres in this loss here tonight. 4-3, Cardinals win it. More after this on the Padres Radio Network.
He is set. He is ready. Payoff pitch on the way. Donovan swings, pops it up, foul ground third baseline. Machado sprinting over near the dugout railing, slides, and he makes the catch. Another huge and unbelievable defensive play by Manny Machado.
More great defense from Manny and the Padres here tonight. Mike Shildt talked about it in his post-game press conference. He was right. The defense tonight for the Padres was not the reason they lost this ball game 4-3 to the St. Louis Cardinals, as we welcome you back into our post-game coverage on the Padres radio network. Tough loss here tonight, but again, Manny, I tweeted it out a little bit earlier. His defense in this series, and really the last month, 2 months, has been stellar. And look, Manny's a Gold Glover over there. It's no surprise. But his defense in this series, the 3 games in particular, it's been terrific. Xander Bogaerts made a great play late in this game as well to help keep it tied. So some really, really good defense from the Padres. That was great to see. Unfortunately, not enough here tonight as the Padres fall 4-3. We'll have our player of the game coming up in a bit. We'll also have our play of the game. If you want to squeeze a phone call in, let me know what you thought about this ball game. Phone number is always 833-288-0973. Again, 833-288-0973. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, tell you what's going on around the major leagues.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We have 2 games in progress right now, and they happen to be the 2 most pertinent games to the Padres. Mets ahead of the Diamondbacks 5-4 in Arizona in the 6th inning. Dodgers ahead of the Orioles 5-3 in the 5th inning in LA. As a reminder, Padres entered today tied with the D-backs for the National League's top wild card spot. Padres began the day 3 games behind LA for first place in the National League West. So, if the scores hold up, and long way to go in both games, but Mets ahead of the Diamondbacks 5-4, the Padres and the D-backs would stay right with one another, still tied for that top wild card spot. If the Dodgers were to hang on and win, both Arizona and San Diego would drop a game in the standings as far as the National League West, and both teams would be 4 games out of first place. So again, we're a long way from those results being final, but that's where we are right now. At the moment, the Padres a half game behind Arizona. At the moment, 3.5 behind LA, but of course, that's all contingent if it goes back to 3 games, if it goes to 4 games, depending on what the D-backs and the Dodgers do. So keep an eye on those games as we get off the air here tonight. Everything else has gone final. Cubs beat the Pirates in come-from-behind fashion today, 14-10, a bit of a wild game in Pittsburgh. The Cubs trailed in that game. They scored a run, or multiple runs, I should say, in the 7th, the 8th, and 9th. They came back to win it 14-10. They scored 6 runs in the 9th inning in that game. Guardians beat the Royals 7-5 in Cleveland. Bo Naylor a home run in that game for the Guardians. Astros 10, Phillies nothing in Philadelphia. Yordan Alvarez 3 home runs in that game for Houston. Mariners beat the Rays 6-2 in Seattle. Randy Arozarena, former Ray, home run in that game for the Mariners. A's beat the Reds 9-6 in Cincinnati. Nationals beat the Yankees again 5-2 in D.C. Dylan Cruz, his first career home run in that game for the Nats. Red Sox beat the Blue Jays 3-0 at Fenway Park. Tyler O'Neill, a 2-run home run in that game. Braves keep on winning. They won 5-1 in Minnesota. Jorge Soler, a solo home run in that game. Brewers beat the Giants 5-3 in Milwaukee. That doubleheader, not really a full doubleheader, one suspended game picked up from yesterday, and then the second regularly scheduled game in Chicago today. Rangers and the White Sox. Game 1 of that doubleheader, Rangers won 3-1. Game 2 of that, again, quote-unquote doubleheader, Rangers won 4-3. So the White Sox are now 31-103. They're going to come very, very close, if not break the all-time loss record. My goodness. 31-103 as the Rangers win 2 games today in Chicago. Tigers beat the Angels 3-2 in Detroit. Rockies beat the Marlins 8-2 in Colorado. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Wednesday. By the way, Tigers come to town starting on Monday at Petco Park. And just so you know, the Tigers, you may not think of them much because they're not really in the playoff picture in the AL or in the AL Central playoff picture, but they are 68 and 66. It's not a bad team. They're above 500 right now, so just keep that in mind. Padres will play the Tigers beginning on Monday in downtown San Diego. Let's tell you about tonight's player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Paddy's and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
Player of the game here tonight. Keep it on the Padres side of things, because we can. Give it to Luis Arraez. He had 4 hits in this game, 2 doubles. I mean, look at it. Arraez had a leadoff single that sparked a 2-run rally in the first inning. He had a double in the second. A single went to second on a wild pitch in the 4th inning. And look, Arraez, if the Padres do take that lead in the 9th inning, they score a run. I mean, that's a huge leadoff double on a pitch that nearly hit the dirt. And Arraez found a way to pick up his 4th hit of the night. So, again, if they win this game, I think he's a no-doubt slam dunk home run, however you want to put it, player of the game. Arraez had 4 hits. So, I know, in a loss, but let's give it to Luis Arraez. Nice night for Luis. A 4-hit night. And again, big double in that 9th inning. Padres couldn't get Wade, the pinch runner, in from second and then third base, and the Padres fall 4-3. We'll come back. We'll hear our play of the game. Want to squeeze a phone call in? You can. 833-288-0973. Wrap things up. Get you ready for tomorrow. Final score here tonight: Cardinals 4, Padres 3 on the Padres Radio Network. Our postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here tonight, Cardinals 4 and the Padres 3. Padres drop the third game of this four-game series. They do have an opportunity to still win this series, take 3 out of 4 tomorrow. We'll have more on tomorrow's game coming up in just a moment. This was a good game. Padres led 2-0. Cardinals then scored 3 runs in the fourth inning to take a 3-2 lead. It stayed 3-2 for a while. Kyle Higashioka hitting his 16th home run of the season. Solo shot in the 8th that tied the game at 3. Padres had a golden opportunity in the top of the 9th inning to take the lead. Luis Arraez leadoff double, 4th hit of the night. But then after a sacrifice bunt from Jurickson Profar, and if you missed our breakdown of that moment, you can go back on the replay, listen to the opening segment. But look, he did bunt, got the go-ahead run to third base, and then Jake Cronenworth, Manny Machado, they strike out against a really good reliever in Ryan Helsley, who does strike out a ton of batters. Game was tied at 3, then 2 outs, 9th inning. Robert Suarez on the mound, 2 up, 2 down, no problem. But then it was a single for Mason Wynn, a single from Victor Scott, put 2 on with 2 out. Nolan Arenado stepped in where one swing could win it for St. Louis, and it was Arenado who provided tonight's play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's Play of the Game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And the 1-1. Arenado ground ball up the middle into center field and a base hit. Wynn is racing around third. Merrill comes up firing, no chance. Walk-off RBI single for Arenado. Mason Wynn scores, and the Cardinals win 4-3.
And as always, gives us no great pleasure to have our play of the game be an opposing walk-off hit, but some nights that's just the way it is, and that's the way it was in this one. Arenado walk-off base hit as the Cardinals win it 4-3. Again, the Padres dropped to 76-59. Cardinals improved to 66-67. As always, we appreciate you tuning in to our post-game coverage. You can go back and listen to any portion of our post-game show on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt. You can find it on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game show there as well. Taking a look ahead to tomorrow, it'll be the final game of this 4-game series. Padres still an opportunity to win this 4-game set. Pitching matchup tomorrow, right-hander Michael King on the mound for the Padres, right-hander Sonny Gray on the mound for St. Louis. First pitch tomorrow early, 11:15 a.m. We're on the air at 10:15 a.m. right after Ben and Woods, so should be a lot of fun tomorrow. Little morning baseball for you here on the West Coast, 10:15 a.m. I'll talk to you with the pregame coverage, and again, first pitch at 11:15. Taking a look at the final totals in this one. For the Cardinals, 4 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. They left on 9. For the Padres, 3 runs, 10 hits, no errors. They left on 10. Winning pitcher in this game, Ryan Helsley, who improves to 6-4. Losing pitcher in this game, Robert Suarez, who drops to 8-2. Time of game, 3 hours on the dot. And the attendance at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, 30,999. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 11:15 a.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 10:15. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Frank Marchese, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score here tonight, the St. Louis Cardinals 4 and the San Diego Padres 3. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.